It's Thursday, September 11th, 2014. Welcome to another Galactic Netcast. This is the Alien Invasion number 117 in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. I'm Dave Nelson. Joining me, as always, Brad Ludwig and Anessa Moynes in Wausau, Wisconsin. How you guys doing?
Yeehaw!
Awesome.
It's cold there because I see Brad is wearing a hoodie.
I are wearing a hoodie because it is a little bit chilly here. It's like in the 50s.
It's supposed to be in the 30s tonight. Look, I'm not wearing a hoodie. Woo.
Yep.
It's cold here too. It's cold here. It was warm, sweaty, humid, like yesterday, and then part of this morning, and then all of a sudden, just weather, bam, changed out of the blue.
Yeah, it was like 82 the day before yesterday, and then yesterday morning it was in the 60s, and then by the afternoon it was like 40.
Yep. Right in the toilet. Right in the toilet.
Here it comes, Anessa. Are you ready?
I suppose.
Winter's coming.
Literally, winter is
It was
coming.
funny. We went to the store this evening to get some salad stuff, and I'm like, it feels like winter. Tee hee hee. In Texas.
Laugh it up, Moynes. Here we go. All right, hey everybody, welcome to the show where we talk about extraterrestrials, ET, aliens, and their appearances in TV. There's a whole list of things, including their appearances: film, TV, video games, comic books, regular books, science, real life, supermarket, the police station. Where else can they be found? On the street, in your ear, in those people's head. Remember that story?
Yeah.
That person's head. Anyways.
Apparently the person had like the biggest head ever.
Yeah. Or the smallest aliens ever. Take your pick.
They look
Welcome.
pretty big.
And the show is divided into three sections: the news, the craft corner. That's our spotlight of a certain kind of alien, spacecraft, and our picks for the week. If you want to catch the show live, we do it on Google Hangouts, usually every Thursday. But just the best thing for you to do, my friends, is to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Google+, and we'll put up a notification when we're going to be live with a link, and that's how it works, and then you can come watch us. Simple as that. Otherwise, just subscribe to the audio podcast. Go to our website, galacticnetcast.com, to find out more about that. Let's get more about this. It's time to get into the news.
In the news.
And I'm first for some reason. I'm not usually first.
It's because you're awesome, Dave. Bam.
Gotta change it
You're
up,
first.
Dave.
I know that.
Same old, same
I'm
old.
awesome. But, all right. So, here we go. Extraterrestrial trailer promises the return of alien horror. Did you guys happen to catch the trailer? Did you click on the link in the story in the document? Did
Is
either?
this the one they talked about with the anal probe?
What?
No. This is like
Or is
an
that a different one?
Australian. This is an Australian kind of a sci-fi horror film.
It's
And-
not Australian.
I thought it was.
No, it's not.
No, because I remember
What?
talking about one, and then at the end it was like heavily implied that there was an anal probe.
Maybe. I don't know. We could have talked about this. I read the story and I watched the trailer and nothing seemed familiar. So maybe we had talked about it when it was like early stages, when it was like in development or something, and not much was
It
known
was
about
the
it.
trailer, because I remember talking about anal probe.
Ew.
That's all I remember was I
Really?
remember talking about.
Really
I'm gonna have
fucking-
to look at the trailer now, and then I'll let you know.
Really stuck in your head, didn't it, Anessa? And
Oh.
Well, because it was like at the end of the thing, it was, you got this guy, and he's like, oh God.
Oh, you know
And then
what?
there's like this tool.
I don't think it's the same one because there's a girl that gets abducted in this one, not a guy.
Well,
But-
it's a bunch of people that get abducted in the one that I saw, so it might be a different one. It just sounds familiar.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's different because I watched this and nothing seemed familiar. In fact, I would have remembered this because Michael Ironside is in this.
Shut it.
He plays some kind of a guy that like a conspiracy theory guy that he's like, the government knows they've been in cahoots with the aliens since 1947, and they've had this treaty where you don't mess with them, they don't mess with us, and you guys mess with them. That was his line, minus my little stumble there. So, anyways, this story written by the Vicious Brothers and directed by one half of the team, Colin Minahan. The Vicious Brothers, also known for their movie Grave Encounters, which this is the person that wrote this article, not me, which, while not a good movie, certainly had its scary moments. Here is the premise for Extraterrestrial from the website Bloody Disgusting.
I did talk about it.
Oh, you did?
Yep, the trailer for alien-themed horror film Extraterrestrial released, and that was the Alien Invasion number 112.
What the hell? How did I not get that? Oh my god, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm like, I swear I talked about this.
And that wasn't that long ago. What episode are we on now?
117?
17?
5 episodes ago. Jesus, what's wrong with me?
It happens, though. Like, things tend to run together after a while. I know I run into the same thing, so I'm constantly having to go and look up show stuff just to see if it's been talked about before.
And remember that episode a couple of episodes ago where you guys had 2 picks that we'd already picked before?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and it's not the first time. I mean, you've picked stuff that I've picked or Brad's picked, and it's just... Yeah. I've been meaning to put everything in a spreadsheet so we can try to avoid that as much as possible.
I guess it's what happens when you've done 117 episodes.
So, yes, there is anal probe in this trailer. Just throwing it out there. Heavily implied.
All the way to the...
The trailer looks awesome. I'm really impressed with the trailer. Well, okay, I was talking. I missed that. What did you say, Anessa?
Oh,
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. No, all I said a while ago was about the anal probe, and then I haven't really said anything since then.
Oh, okay.
I said all the way to the elbow.
Oh, okay. All right.
You're welcome.
I missed exactly what you said, but now I know. Okay. So, do we really need to discuss the plot since we talked about this 5 episodes ago?
I didn't know that there was Michael Ironsides was in it.
Yeah, Michael Ironside and Gil Bellows. Do you know who Gil Bellows is?
That sort of rings a bell.
No.
He's that guy. No, seriously, if you see him, you'll go, oh, he's that guy.
Yeah. I don't know what guy he is, but apparently he's that guy.
Yeah, he was in Smallville. He played the character
There's
of
a
Max
TV.
Wilmore.
He's been in CSI.
Yeah.
What was his character's name in Smallville?
He played Maxwell Lord, which is kind of an interesting character.
I've never seen Smallville.
Oh, I own all 10 seasons. So
I noticed you owned some of them when I was going through DVDs the other day.
No, I own them all.
Of course you do.
I guess I know what you guys will be watching for a while.
There is a whole stack of DVDs that I need to be watching. So apparently now I'm going to try to look and apply for jobs and watch movies. That's my thing now.
2 birds, 1 stone. Nothing wrong with that. Okay,
Hire
so
me. Next episode, please.
If you missed episode 115, the basic plot of this is a group of younger people go into the woods. They're hanging out at this cabin. They see what they think is like an airplane or something crash in the woods. They go to investigate. What's sitting there is a UFO, an alien craft. And then they see some footprints walking away, but it's not human footprints. It's like an alien. So I guess there's some stalking involved, and then one of them gets sucked into another alien craft that arrives, and then that person gets anal probed, apparently.
The elbow. Wait, what?
This may be our dirtiest episode ever. A lot of anal probing going on in this episode.
I don't know. There was the episode where I kept saying balls. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. Okay.
It's a toss-up.
All right. So, video release, video on demand is October 17th, just in time for Halloween. And the movie is called Extraterrestrial. From what I saw the trailer, it looks awesome. So, sight unseen, I'm going to recommend it right now. I'll be watching it.
It's got Michael Ironside in it. Bam.
Michael Effin Ironside.
Damn right.
I don't know who that is off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Another one of those guys that you'll know right away who it is.
He's even more of that guy than the other guy we talked about.
Oh, that guy.
That guy. He's more of that guy.
Starship Troopers.
Yes, he was in Starship Troopers. And a host of other films.
Well, like, a whole bunch of other things, but
he was in RoboCop. Oh my God, he's been in a ton of stuff.
Well, the Mars movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yep.
Total Recall.
Total Recall, yeah. No, there was not an 80s action movie that he was not in.
No.
He was in Free Willy.
You said free.
All right, moving on to story number 2. Anessa, it's your turn. What do you got?
Hey, it's my turn. Hang on, I gotta go back to the document. I lost my spot.
Such a stoner there.
Totally not a stoner. Okay, so I came across this question that someone had asked to a gentleman at Wired.com, and the person who's responding to this, his name's John Mualem of Wired, so he's from Wired, and he was asked, if you find alien life, do you have to report it to the government? Which I think is a really great question.
Yeah, that's something that I've never thought of before.
Yeah, it's like, you always think, oh man, I see what do I do if I see a UFO? And you're more concerned with capturing it, or capturing, imagery of this UFO. But then it's like, what if you actually encountered one, or encountered an alien? Do you just call up the government and say, hey, I've got ET hanging out in my front yard? This guy from Wired said that the first thing he did was call Seth Shostak, a senior astronomer at SETI. After having laughed, Seth said that you're certainly not obligated to report it. There's no law, there's no policy. Nobody forces you to report that any more than you're forced to report a sighting of a ghost or a leprechaun. But if you don't tell anybody else, it's just your story. And if nobody can verify what you saw, it's not that meaningful. So if you didn't tell, it wouldn't do much good. And if you did tell someone, it usually doesn't do much good anyway, because there's usually very thin evidence. So, John from Wired said that he took this as being, as far as he's concerned, it doesn't matter what you do, because you probably didn't see anything anyway.
So it's the damned if I do, damned if I don't clause.
Yes, it is. You're screwed either way. Like, you can tell people, but who's going to believe you?
Yeah.
But then he decided to call someone else besides speaking to only one person. So he called MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, for those that are unaware of what MUFON stands for. And the MUFON is an organization that complies and investigates claims of extraterrestrials. So Roger Marsh, the MUFON's communications director, said, yes, you should report it. MUFON needs you to report it. It's hard to study UFOs, he said. MUFON is trying to make a rigorous scientific study of extraterrestrial sightings, but their sample size is inevitably very small. They need more people to come forward out of the darkness, and the more people who do, the less ridiculed they'll be, the less lonely they'll feel, and the easier it will be for the next person. This is a pretty good argument for reporting what you saw. It might be something. But no one thinks of these encounters from the aliens' point of view. The risk that teacher took to fly beyond its frontiers and reveal itself to you. Maybe you took it aboard for a quick surgical analysis. Or maybe it took you aboard for a quick surgical analysis. And for what? When it returns and reports to the monarchs or venture capitalists that bankrolled its voyage, what sort of deliverables will it have to impress them? Maybe mass hysteria on our part is the only way to make alien investors feel they're getting their money's worth. So, which is to say, maybe, just maybe, reporting an alien visitation actually encourages more alien encounters. Anyway, those are the facts as best as John with Wired can puzzle them out, and he leans towards reporting them. But now, at least, you can make an informed decision. So,
I'm thinking that the only conditions where you really, really want to report it to the government is if you actually, I don't know, have a piece of evidence, like physical evidence or really legitimate pictures or videos. That's when you may want to report it to the government. I think MUFON, you can report them. You can report almost anything to MUFON because I think people do.
Yeah, I think people are more comfortable with reporting things to MUFON than the government, just because they've heard a lot of stories of men in black or supposed stories of people going forward with this information and then never being heard from again or not being the same people as before when they went to go report this information. So there's a lot of stories out there that just, I think, would scare people from going to the government, but MUFON is an organization that's a lot more welcoming, and they really want this information so they can try to figure out what's going on, see if there's a trend with sightings or interactions and whatnot. So they're actually trying to do something with it, whereas the government, the U.S. government, that's the other thing too, is it depends on your government. Because you've got several countries in South America, and then you've got people in Europe, and you've got Canada that are all very open to this whole extraterrestrial thing. And then you've got the United States. It's like, shh, they don't exist.
Yeah, okay. You're living in North Dakota. Don't report it to the U.S. government. You're closer to Canada anyways. Report it to the Canadian government.
So long as you've got like your passport and can go across. So
yeah.
Make sure you've got your proper documentation.
Hey Bob, another crazy from the U.S. Better lock him up.
So yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if you look at other governments, they're very open. They're creating these little departments and stuff to try to sort through this data, collect data, and then you've got the United States. It's like, oh, there's no such thing as aliens. We've never seen any. Oh, hey, so we've recorded these things, these documents, and we're going to make them open to you, but you can only read like 5 words because everything else has been sharpied out.
Yeah.
So.
I cannot wait for the day that, like, it's obvious that there was an alien, like, floating over New York City, or, you know, something so, like, concrete that nobody can deny it.
Yeah, but, you know, no matter how concrete, there's always going to be people out there to deny it, because no matter how concrete it is that we can, you know, leave the Earth's atmosphere and take images of a perfectly spherical Earth, there are people who believe that the Earth is flat.
Or they believe that the moon landings never happened.
Totally fake. Yeah, there's the people who don't believe that we landed on the moon. There's other people that think the world is flat. I mean, pre-Columbus people knew that the Earth was round. I mean, where do they get this?
Yeah.
And it wasn't Columbus that figured out that the Earth was round.
The Earth is flat, otherwise curling wouldn't be possible. Sorry.
Dear boyfriend, I'm afraid I have to break up with you.
Son of a...
On that note, let's continue on with story number 3 in the news. Brad, Saturn is a giant UFO? What?
Yep. So, I don't know, with changes at Weekly World News, they haven't really been posting stuff on a regular basis, but every once in a while I like to go over there just to see if they've woken up and posted something. And by God, if they didn't deliver. I found this story. Saturn is a giant UFO.
Duh.
Now, what's awesome about this, and I'm going to put this up, and sadly, if you're not seeing this on video, you are not going to behold the magnificence of this image I'm about to share.
Brad, hang on one second. Can you go back and do that whole Saturn as a giant UFO thing again?
Okay. Saturn is a giant UFO.
Sorry, I was sleeping at the controls.
I also feel like there should have been a Wilhelm scream in there.
Oh. Take care of that. Hang on. All right.
There you go.
All right, and here it is. Now, here's the picture from the top of the story. Saturn is a giant UFO. And in like this exploding box, it says astronomers stunned, but the image behind it is the Death Star from Star Wars, which obviously is not Saturn, has no rings, and they're just trying to, I think, jump on the excitement for Star Wars bandwagon, but that's just me. So there you go. Anyways, let's get on to the story because, oh, it's a beaut. It's a beaut. So, here we go. Forget the scientific facts, in quotes, drummed into your head by school teachers. Saturn is not a planet. It's a colossal UFO. Come on, Dave. Hit
Set you up.
Hit me. That's the assertion of controversial astronomer Dr. Eduardo Marquez, who has come forward with puzzling photos that appear to bolster the seemingly outlandish claim. Now, I'm going to show you these super awesome high-def pictures that he has taken that's going to shock the world. All right, are you ready? Are you ready to behold the magnificence that is his high-definition photo?
Yes.
Oh, here it is. Oh, wait, hang on. Let me blow this up for you a little bit so you can kind of really soak in the majesty. And if my frickin' browser would cooperate, here we go. There it is. The high-definition awesomeness. Huh?
Brad, that's Saturn.
I know. That's, well, yeah, that is Saturn. But that's not a high definition anything, and in fact that looks like a regurgitation from Voyager 2 pictures. So needless to say, I am saddened by this turn of events, but let's continue with the story. Alright, here we go. New high definition photos taken by the powerful 2.6 meter telescope. 2.6 meter, that's like an 8-foot microscope telescope, isn't it? A meter's about 3 feet? Or is that a yard? Am I confusing meters and yards?
Meter, isn't that like 3.3?
That's what I thought. So
yeah, no, it is. It is 3.3 feet because I just know that 2 meters is 6.6 feet, so I just divided by half.
There you go. So
this on the box.
This powerful 8-foot telescope at our observatory shows windows, cargo bays, and even shuttlecraft-sized saucers going to and from the mammoth vehicle.
Oh, that's me again. Hang on. Okay.
So they don't realize that it's a gas planet? It's a gas giant?
Says Dr. Marquez, who captured the images with the Nordic Optical Telescope in the Canary Islands. Dude, he was drinking rum, whipped out a telescope, and like took a picture of somebody's butt or something. This is terrible. Clearly, this is not a natural body, but the creation of intelligent beings, an almost inconceivably huge flying saucer, 74,900 miles in diameter. Shockingly, Dr. Marquez claims that NASA has known the truth for decades and is deliberately concealing it from the world. When Pioneer 11 flew past Saturn on September 1st, 1979, and when Voyager 2 photographed it from just 21 million miles away in 1981, they couldn't have missed these telltale features, he says. I believe NASA doctored those photos, and all since, including images taken by the Hubble Space Telescope, fearing that to inform the public that a spaceship larger than Earth is orbiting our sun would spark international panic. But terror is unwarranted, the scientist insists. this takes a weird turn. Clearly, whoever built a craft that immense has the capacity to conquer Earth and could have done so any time in the past several thousand years, Dr. Marquez says. Since they haven't done so, we can presume their intentions are not hostile. Saturn's unique rings have long distinguished it from other 8 planets in the solar system. Wait. They said 8. He's obviously not a good astronomer because he would know that Pluto has been declassified as a planet and is now a dwarf planet. Anyways, all right. So this guy automatically sucks. We're done with the story now. Hey, you can check out the show notes and go see it. See this link to the Weekly World News story of this jackass who says that he's smarter than NASA, and NASA has doctored all photos.
That's no moon.
You know, I'm gonna say unless the guy is based out of New Mexico, I think New Mexico refuses to acknowledge that there are only 8 planets now.
Okay.
So the whole state, I mean, everybody in the state of New Mexico is refusing to believe that.
It's a law, I believe.
Oh,
I believe they actually passed a law.
They spent money. They spent time in their legislature and actually passed that as a law.
I believe so. I could be wrong. I need to look this up. But I think it's because the guy who initially discovered Pluto is from New Mexico.
There's 2 last things that I want us to 2 paragraphs that I need to read before we wrap this up. I believe all flying saucers encountered in our atmosphere come from the mother ship, Dr. Marquez says. The humongous craft probably has at least 5,000 decks and could accommodate literally billions of extraterrestrials. Second paragraph. NASA officials deny doctoring any images and reject the astronomers' accusation of a cover-up. They call the eggheads theory about Saturn preposterous. Oh, wow. That story is comedy gold, Jerry. Comedy gold.
And
go ahead.
Going back to New Mexico, yes, because it was Clyde Tombaugh who is from New Mexico, and so the U.S. state of New Mexico's House of Representatives passed a resolution in honor of Tombaugh, a longtime resident of that state, which declared that Pluto will always be considered a planet while in New Mexican skies.
Oh, no!
Yep.
And March 13th is Pluto Planet Day.
I can understand. Okay, I can respect that. I can respect that because the guy is from there, they said, no, let's not acknowledge the fact that it's not a planet anymore. But if it was like the case that people were just stupid and didn't want to believe it, then I would be more upset.
Yeah, I think it's more of he lived here for a number of years. He actually discovered it. We need to acknowledge his work and celebrate his discovery. And Illinois State Senate actually passed a similar resolution in 2009. Because he was born in Illinois. So the resolution asserted that Pluto was unfairly downgraded to a dwarf planet by the IAU.
If they were to go out into the outer solar system and actually fly around, I think they come to realize pretty quickly that Saturn is pretty unremarkable when it comes to
Pluto?
Pluto.
We're starting to get images from, was it New Horizons, from Pluto? And then I think it's next year where we're actually going to get some up-close photos of Pluto that, of course, we've never seen before, because every picture that I've ever seen of Pluto has been this little pixelated thing. You can make out, like, nothing. So I'm actually looking really forward to new images of, I'm pretty sure it's New Horizons that's flying out there. And so yeah, but if they went out there, they would find that Pluto is not exactly special, and if we were to include Pluto as a planet, then there's a whole bunch of other objects out there that we would have to include as planets too. And honestly, I'd rather memorize 8 than like 508.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. Did you guys see the picture this week? It was like a 3-panel picture of photos that were taken of Saturn over time, and it's amazing the how high definition, how good our technology is now compared to like 1972 or 1960.
I've not seen them this week.
Or whatever it was when they were.
Yeah, I've not seen them this week, but I've seen a lot of high-res photos of Saturn. But yeah, it's amazing how we've come a long way with our camera technology and technology in general. But yeah, I remember looking at APOD, Astronomy Picture of the Day, and you'd periodically come across photos of Saturn, whether it was Earth in the background of Saturn, and you have like its rings, and then this tiny little dot, and that was us, or just of Saturn and its rings. But yeah, it's crazy how awesome those pictures are. I thought Saturn was pretty cool through a telescope.
Yeah, when you get right close to it, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, it does. And it was funny because when we show students Saturn through the telescope, they always thought it was fake. They always thought that we put like those little glow-in-the-dark stickers at the other end of the telescope. We're like, nah, dude, that's totally real.
Well, I mean, it looks so different compared to any other planet. Well, I guess you could put Jupiter in that too.
But the thing is with Saturn is that it has rings that are visible, whereas Jupiter, they're not really visible. They're really far away and they're very thin. But Jupiter does have rings. But yeah, you do see on a good night and with a decent telescope, you can see some of the banding through Jupiter, which is pretty cool. And if you're lucky, you can see one of the moons transiting across the face of Jupiter, which is kind of cool. It's a little dot. One of the moons.
While we're on the subject, and of course, well, this
Brad.
isn't... Yes?
No, I was going to say, go ahead.
Oh, okay. This has just been released by CNN. Big solar storm heading towards Earth.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a huge coronal mass ejection that will affect the Earth on Saturday, so that would be, 2 days hence?
And
there's a potential for auroras.
Yeah, it's gonna be the viewing of aurora borealis is gonna look awesome. I mean, it's gonna be very visible in more southern regions.
Sweet. So you might actually be able to see an aurora light show there for once.
Yeah.
There, Texas.
Yeah, they get those once in a while, but they're very hard to see, and especially living in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, it's just a bunch of light pollution.
Oh, we're gonna get a show. It looks like. I'm taking a look at the.
The sky's gonna be clear.
Well, that's the other thing too. Let's see. It looks
Saturday's supposed to be
like.
clear, supposedly.
Pooh. Well, no, we're in the fair zone, so it looks like we have a fair shot at seeing it if there is no cloud cover. So, there you go.
You're looking at a map of the best viewing of the borealis. Yes,
AccuWeather does have a listing of aurora views, and we're in a fair spot to see it. Now, if we were further west, like the Dakotas, like on the kind of Minnesota border and the Dakota side, we'd have a very, very good shot at seeing that. So
cool. All right. Well, check your local listings. Maybe you will be able to see.
Or spaceweather.com is another good place to go for that sort of thing.
That is true.
All right. Thank you, guys. Let's move on to before we do move on to the craft corner, we would love your feedback. galacticnetcasts@gmail.com. That's our email address, galacticnetcasts@gmail.com. Also, got a voicemail number. Call it if you want. Leave a message, 805-328-3966, 805-328-3966. Now, it's time for this.
Please identify the craft you witnessed.
A black, triangular, three-dimensional shape, huge, just flying, hovering in it.
Shaped like almost like between an egg and like a teardrop.
Two long cylinder objects
flying over me.
I could see the occupants in
It appeared to be rotating, and it was on circular to disc shape, and it hovered for maybe about 5 minutes.
All right, this is our spotlight on a certain kind of alien spacecraft, a.k.a. Craft Corner. Sometimes we talk about, the UFOs that we see here on Earth, like the flying saucers, or the what are the cigar-shaped UFOs, or the diamond shape, or the triangle, or those kind of UFOs. But then other times we talk about fictitious alien spacecraft, and it's Anessa's turn picking the Craft Corner craft this week. What do you got?
I have the TARDIS from Doctor Who. Woohoo!
Time and relativity, dimension, and space.
Yes, time and relative dimension in space. It is a craft that allows the Doctor or Time Lord to travel through time and space. It is often referred to as being larger on the inside or smaller on the outside, depending on who it is that's making the observation about the TARDIS. And the TARDIS is a product of the advanced technology of Time Lords. They're an alien species that live on the planet of Gallifrey. And the TARDIS can transport its occupants to any point in time and any place in the universe. And as already mentioned, it's larger on the inside. So if you were to walk inside of a TARDIS, it would be very roomy inside, with multiple rooms and hallways and whatnot, including apparently a pool, and who knows what else. The TARDIS is supposed to be able to basically blend in with its surroundings using a chameleon circuit. On Doctor Who, however, the Doctor's TARDIS has a broken chameleon circuit, and so it is unable to change its exterior shape to blend in with any of its surroundings. So rather than going to, I'm trying to think, the Old West and having it look like an outhouse, it will forever look like a blue police box because its chameleon circuit is broken. But it works. People seem to not really notice it much anyway, even though it's stuck on that one shape. According to the show, as we've seen in previous episodes, it appears that the TARDIS has some sort of sentience. And, excuse me, there's an episode with back in 2011 with Matt Smith, where Matt Smith actually meets his TARDIS's consciousness, because she ends up being placed into the body of a person. And that episode is the Doctor's wife. And he's always had the impression that whenever he left Gallifrey, he stole this old TARDIS that was no longer in use. And in this episode, we find that the TARDIS actually says that she stole the Doctor. And if you've ever watched Doctor Who, you'll see that a lot of times the Doctor will say, okay, we're going to go to this time period in this place, this planet. And then they get there, and they're a totally different planet or different time period. And they always thought, or you were always under the impression as a viewer, that it was just a glitch with the TARDIS, or maybe user error with the Doctor. But apparently the TARDIS chooses these destinations on purpose. And essentially she takes the Doctor where he needs to be. So where he is needed, that's where she takes him, and he usually ends up saving the day. Not always, but he tries to help out as best as he can. So, but yeah, the TARDIS on Doctor Who has always been called the TARDIS, or the police box, or the blue box, or even the ship. But yeah, it's a pretty cool piece of alien technology, and they show it flying through the air, and I'm not quite sure. Maybe if the Doctor were to be real, then I would imagine UFOs would be seen as being a rectangular box from a distance. He would be the rectangular UFO, is what I'm saying.
The one thing that confuses me about the TARDIS is sometimes it dematerializes and other times it flies. Now, what's why does it do one thing or not the other, and vice versa? Do you guys know the answer to that?
I
would
think part
say
of it. Go ahead.
if it's dematerializing, it's moving through time. If it's
Yeah.
flying, it's moving through space.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
That makes a lot of sense. That's great.
So it's coming from another point in time, and yeah, otherwise you're just flying from one place to another. There's
Can we
no point into dematerialize.
Another cool feature of the TARDIS is it can change. In fact, every Doctor, it seems, except for David Tennant in the since 2005 Doctors, has changed the TARDIS, right? Because
it's the interior that they've been able to change, but the exterior is forever stuck there.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure people are listening and be like, wait, she said that it couldn't change. Well, it's the exterior. It can't blend in with its surroundings, so you can't make it look like some ratty old shack or outhouse or cave or door on the side of a building, I guess. But yeah, you can change the interior. The console changes. It's got like this central console where the Doctor runs around and hits buttons and presses knobs, or doesn't really run around much and just flips a switch. Just depending on the Doctor.
The new Doctor doesn't do any running around or crazy. No,
I noticed he'll kind of like walk around to his side and do a couple of things, but he's not like Tennant or even Eccleston did it, where he was, just very animated with flying this TARDIS, and Capaldi's just like, I'm gonna flip this switch and then I'm gonna walk over here and hit this button. Okay, we're cool. So it's just funny to see different actors' takes on how they should fly the TARDIS. And in this newest incarnation, the original TARDIS from 1963, the interior had a lot of circular lights on the walls. And with the newer TARDISes, they kind of got away from that. But the newest version of the Doctor, has decided to put some of the circular things back on the walls. It's not like a lot, but it's there, and he wanted sort of a nod to... They did it as sort of a nod to their previous Doctors and TARDISes, so I thought that was kind of cool. So yeah, my pick was the TARDIS.
All right. Cool. I think, who's prepping the show next week? Is it me or you, Brad?
You? It's you, Dave.
It's you.
Okay. I think I will return us to the real world crafts starting next week.
Yeah, there was another... Well, because I've been kind of alternating between the two. I thought about doing a different craft, like an actual craft, but all I was able to really find on it was a couple of eyewitnesses, and that was about it. Not really a whole lot. It was the heart-shaped craft, and I can always talk about that later, but it wasn't as...
Let's save that for Valentine's Day.
We'll save the heart-shaped craft for Valentine's Day. So, but yeah, that's what I was initially going with, and I'm like, oh, there's not a lot of information on it. So I'll just go with the TARDIS for now. I'll see if I can find another shape later.
Yeah. We're running out of actual UFO shapes.
Yeah. So, but we'll save the heart for Valentine's Day. It's cool.
Cool. All right. That is your craft corner for this week. Let's move on to picks. And my pick, I'm going to start off. Hope you guys don't mind. My pick is Paranormal Witness. Like my favorite show right now on TV. It has been for like the last, 5 months or so. It's Season 2, Episode 9, The Abduction. Have you guys seen Paranormal Witness?
No, I have not.
Nope.
It's a cool show. They mainly deal with like UFOs and spirits. But I think once or twice a season they'll tackle a other kind of paranormal thing, and this case it was the Travis Walton abduction case. The episode was called The Abduction. And cool thing about this show is there's no narrator. it's all just witness testimony. So they'll have things. They'll have like whenever they come back from a commercial break, they'll kind of review what has happened so far. The people involved are telling a story, and they'll kind of review and say this blah 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 just happened, and then they continue on. So this is the Travis Walton story, and they got almost everybody involved in the Travis Walton incident to actually have testimony in this episode. It's really awesome. This was the first time that all the key people involved in the famous alien abduction case, they got together and got them all for this show, and they all it was really cool. Of course, if you're not familiar with the Travis Walton abduction case, it was the inspiration for the 1993 movie Fire in the Sky, and it was Arizona logger Travis Walton's 1975 alien abduction case. And one of the cool things is that I never knew about this case is supposedly there was some like government agents there during the search for Travis Walton, because what happened was Travis Walton was part of this like logging crew that went up this mountain in like Snowflake, Arizona or something like that, and it was late at night, and they saw a shiny object, not shiny object, but like what looked like a fire in the sky, basically. They went over, investigated, turned out it was a alien craft, and Travis Walton was the only one that got out. He kept on walking closer and closer and closer, and basically got sucked up. No, a shiny light came down, hit him, knocked him to the ground. The rest of the guys freaked out. They took off. They realized, they went down the road a little bit. They realized a few minutes later they should go back, so they went back, and Travis was gone. And they went to report the case to the sheriff, who, by the way, the sheriff still believes they were lying about this. They reported to the sheriff, and obviously they don't believe the story, so they give them a polygraph test. They all passed, and then like a week later, Travis Walton comes basically waltzing back into town, and he has this fantastical story about being abducted. I mean, they talked to everybody from the crew that Travis was working with, to the sheriff, who I said still doesn't believe their story, to the polygraph operator guy, to the doctor who actually examined Travis when he was first found after coming back from his abduction. And these guys that actually experienced this, they were like crying during their interview scenes for this show. And it's really hard to believe that something actually didn't happen if they're so emotional and they're so like, they are still recovering this many years later. They're still affected by what happened that night on that mountaintop, that it's really hard to believe that something didn't happen, because it's affected them so badly, so intensely after all these years. So I highly recommend the Paranormal Witness episode, Season 2, Episode 9, The Abduction. And we'll have the Amazon, our store on Amazon.com link in the show notes that you can watch it for yourself and help us out monetarily a little bit on the picks page at galacticnetcast.com. So there you go.
Cool.
Who is next?
I think that's
That's me! So
Yeah.
I went to Hulu.com, and they have a whole movies section. I ended up finding a movie that it's Chinese and it's Cantonese with English subtitles, called The Wesley's Mysterious File. It's from 2002. And it is essentially a Chinese version of the X-Files, except with only a Mulder. There really isn't a Scully.
Aww.
Yeah. And this guy, while he doesn't look like much, he's kind of a badass. Very mentally disciplined, and this movie is kind of a telling of a specific situation that he's in, but it turns out that he's kind of been involved in this since he was a child. And in this world, this Wesley works for an agency that's kind of a subdivision of the UN. It's the UN department investigating extraterrestrial sightings, and they are very keenly aware and have insanely long names for, and by names I mean kind of like alphanumerical designations for planets that have intelligent life that visit our planet. And he ends up stumbling into an investigation with 2 FBI agents that he happens to associate with from time to time, because these FBI agents have occasionally come into contact with alien type encounters, so they kind of know of each other. And there is an alien that is it starts with an alien artifact which looks like a blue crystal skeletal portion of the kind of like the wrist and hand, and it literally looks like bluish crystal. The flesh is gone from it, and it's just the bones that are left. And the investigation begins at that point, and action, intrigue, and all sorts of stuff that makes Americans look like complete jackasses ensues throughout the film. So, it would seem that in some parts of the world, America is not a cool place. Yeah,
surprise!
Especially by the Chinese, and I'm not surprised by that at all. It's done in 2002. The special effects, and there are CGI monsters and whatnot, and not top of the line by even 2002 standards, but they're all right. They move the story along, and that's really their main purpose. So,
what's the rest of this besides the aliens? What's the look of the rest of the show? Does it look pretty good, or movie? Excuse me. Sorry.
Boy, it kind of reminds me if you've seen any of the Jackie Chan films that he has done overseas, like maybe Legend of the Drunken Master or some things like that, it has that same kind of a feel of it's shot in film but not the highest quality, or it was shot, converted to video, and they have a different video. I don't know if they have CCAM or what, and we have NTSC.
They have PAL, don't they?
Maybe, yeah, they probably have PAL. And the conversion, the quality doesn't feel like it has the right amount of contrast. The dark, like the stuff that should be black or dark doesn't feel like it's dark enough. So it kind of has a strange look to it. But overall, it's an interesting story. If you've seen any foreign films, especially the Asian theater, whether it's Chinese or our other films from those countries, it really has a consistent look and feel, and the dialogue and the translations for the subtitles are not to be missed, because there are bits that don't seem to translate quite right. And so reading the subtitles, occasionally you kind of chuckle because maybe tense is off or whatever, and it reads kind of oddly. But it's enough for you to get a full feel of the film and what's going on. So it's an enjoyable thing. If you enjoy sci-fi films and you want to get a taste of how other countries work with that genre, I would give the Wesley's Mysterious File a try.
All right. Thumbs up from Brad. Let's move on to Vanessa's final pick.
My pick is an app. It's called Star Trek Trexels. And I I looked, and for the moment, it's only available on iOS devices. But essentially,
hang on 1 second. Hang on, I got something for that. Where is it? Oh, I don't have it on this soundboard. I have a Boo, and it's on the other show soundboard. Hang on, but I got something for it. I'll play this.
Sad trombone?
Okay. Go ahead.
I was expecting a sad trombone. But yeah, at least for now, it's only on iOS devices. And essentially, there's a USS Valiant ship that has been destroyed by an unknown attacker. And you have been chosen by Starfleet to continue its mission deep within a mysterious area of space known as the Trexelian Expanse. And so your ship's not quite complete when you get sent out on this mission. So you build your ship, you choose your crew, and you go out and explore these different planets and complete different missions to learn the fate of the USS Valiant. And so it's actually kind of entertaining because it's got kind of a 8-bit vibe to it. You get to choose your captain. I chose mine accidentally. I was setting down the iPad and selected a person, but whatever, it works. But there's different characteristics that you can take a look at. Some characters have more charisma than another character, and another one might be more abrasive or aggressive. And so you have to try to figure out how it is that you want to play this character. Oh, goodness. It is a free app on iOS. It is actually narrated by George Takei, so it is a legit Star Trek thing. It's not like someone just trying to make a few bucks off of the franchise. It's at least legal. But it is actually entertaining, and you earn credits and whatnot that will allow you to expand your rooms, and you can customize where you want different things on the ship and expand your crewmates and whatnot. So,
didn't you have a app similar to this last week?
No, we talked about it in conversation, but it wasn't a pick.
Oh, that's why it sounded so familiar. I'm like,
yeah, because you were talking about how Stephanie was potentially going to be getting an iOS device.
Yeah.
In the near future.
Yeah.
And that you would try to find it. But yeah, I never actually did this as a pick. I think last week we all did the Doctor Who pick. So I.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Duh.
So that's why this sounds familiar, because we did actually talk about this particular.
So I'm not losing my mind then.
No.
Okay.
Yes, we did have a conversation about this particular app, but it was not a pick. So I figured I'd go ahead and make it a pick, and while it was still fresh in my mind, which I get notifications periodically going, hey, you should totally do this. I'm like, okay, let me go out and explore this, and it's pretty entertaining. Cool. I believe if people are familiar with, I think it's Tiny Death Star, I think it's kind of the same thing. I've not actually played that particular app or that game, but I've heard from other people that it's very similar to it. So if you like Tiny Death Star, then you should totally get Star Trek Trexels.
I was going to wait until Brad came back to talk about this.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I don't know. Did you see the story? That tweet from J.J. Abrams with the note.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I posted it on my Facebook page, actually.
Yeah, he's talking about the iWatch, and in the background you can see these lights reflected off the surface of where the note is sitting, and it looks exactly like those, and bear with me here, it'll relate to what you're talking about, Anessa. It looks like the lights from the Death Star, from the hall scene. And now they're thinking that the Empire is involved somehow. There's remnants of the Empire, and there's going to be a scene with those title lights. Probably not the Death Star, but because they can't build 3 Death Stars. There can't be another Death Star in Star Wars. It's not possible.
Yeah. But maybe something similar, or just bits and pieces that'll be a throwback to it.
Or they might have a very large craft. That they fly in, and that's the interior that they use.
Yeah. What are you looking for there, Brad?
Something of a personal nature.
Oh, okay. All right. Anything you want to add to that, Anessa? your pick?
No, I think that's it. I mean, it's an entertaining app. It's free on iTunes. I say if you've got a little bit of time, pick it up, check it out. And yeah, I play it like not every day, but like every other day. I'll pop it open and play for a little bit, and then just keep on about my daily business.
All right. So, in review, our picks this week were the following. Hang on. My browser's being slow. Paranormal Witness episode, The Abduction, about the Travis Walton case. Brad had the Wesley's Mysterious File from China, 2002 movie, similar to the X-Files, and Anessa had Star Trek Trexels.
Actually, I think it's Trexels. I think that's just a typo.
Okay, all right. We were both going to fix it on the app.
Yeah, it was like, Trexels. Yeah, it's Trexels.
All right, cool.
That was just a typo on my part.
We'll have the links in the show notes if you want to check out these picks. So there you go. That's the show. GalacticNetcasts.com. Go there and find out all about what we have going on, including our social networks. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Google+. You can subscribe to the show there by finding each show's page. Then there's a subscription button and all that jazz. Or just go straight to the source. Go to iTunes or Stitcher and search for The Alien Invasion there, or just type in Galactic Netcasts. And again, feedback is welcomed. GalacticNetcasts@gmail.com, or the voicemail number is 805-328-3966. As we always do before we wrap up the show, just some final thoughts. Brad.
I am, and this is going back to the J.J. Abrams Apple Watch announcement, with him purposely using the reflection to show off something that we're going to see in the next film. He's either a marketing genius or the world's biggest social marketing jackass ever. And he rides that point of, hey, here's this thing that I'm kind of showing you, but I'm trying to tag on to people looking for information about the Apple Watch, and it's just like, it's one of those things where, God, either he's brilliant or just the world's biggest dick. And I'm not sure. I want to believe that he's just an awesome marketing guy, but there's just that point where he's riding the line. That's what I'm thinking about.
There's a fine line.
There is.
Yeah. I tend to err on the side of he's a genius.
I do too, because damn, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it is. He's using social media right.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. All right, Anessa, what's your final thought?
I actually created a new Twitter account the other day that's just dedicated to the random crap that Brad says that I find funny.
Oh, great! This is kind of in the spirit of My Dad Says and that kind of thing.
Yes, it is very much like that. It's like stuff my Brad says, with stuff being a replacement for the other S word. It starts with an SH. So. Okay,
so give us a couple of examples.
There's only a couple of examples so far. Well, there's like 4, but
there's 4 now.
So yeah, there's 4. Oh no, wait, I guess there's 3. My bad. Anyway, so there's 3 examples, but I'll read the first one that I put up. And Brad and I were watching Jack Reacher the other day, and there's this creepy old guy that's like blind in one eye, and he's missing a bunch of fingers, and he only has 2 fingers left because he ate all his other fingers. Spoiler alert. You don't actually see him eating them though, so there's that. But anyway, so Brad turns to me. He's like, you know why he's so ornery? It's hard to masturbate when you only have 2 fingers.
Very good, Brad.
It's true. It is true.
And it made me laugh, and I'm like, that's it. I'm making this happen. And so, yeah, now that's a thing.
So what's the Twitter handle?
What Say Brad?
What Say Brad? Very good. I like it.
Yeah, boy, if you want to hear pearls of wisdom that drop from my mouth when I just open my face and make air pass through my throat, yep, you should totally check that out because, yeah, things I say are totally worthwhile. Well, not really.
Well, given what we've heard so far, I kind of have to agree. I think it's worth to follow. You could be following a lot worse stuff on Twitter. I'm just saying that.
That's very true. I mean, we could just be following bots. It'll be updated whenever stuff, Brad says something funny. So
this might actually motivate him to be even funnier.
Or he'll just close up and not say anything ever.
No, I'll say stuff. I guarantee that.
All right. So we got to run. Thanks for joining us for the Alien Invasion number 118?
117.
117. You jumping the gun, buddy.
118 will be next week. All right.
Yep.
Until then, adios.
Bye.
Bye.